felt like there were too many core requests coming in. And I just wanted to say that there would be much fewer core requests if the government were just more open and forthcoming with information. In the past, there's been, I think, fewer core requests because we felt like we knew what was going on. Now it seems like our only avenue to find that out is to submit core requests. So if you're forward with the information, if you're open with the information, if you keep us in the know, there'll probably be a whole lot less work for your government.
Well, Adrian, I did not say that we have too many core requests.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
I think what I said is we have a tsunami of core requests. No, tsunami's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it's all right, let's call it an avalanche. Let's call it an ever-increasing, let's call it, maybe John Hazers could wordsmith this for me. Let's call it an ever-increasing tempo of core requests.
Let's call it a Niagara request.
Well, let's just say whatever you want to say. I get what we're at here. I get this. And I wouldn't stand here on a monthly basis if I did not want to build a dialogue with you. Why would I? Why would I go through this and frankly take up your time? So apparently, despite appearances, it is not my intent that we don't cooperate. It is not my intent that we're not transparent. I brought in as a communications chief someone from your industry in Cindy Aubrey, and I picked her in part because of her long experience, and I thought respect of the media because of her history. And I wanted her specifically to help me make sure that we can build a dialogue with you. So we clearly have work to do on that. In terms of releasing everything, well, just come on up and spend the next week with me. Now, seriously, when you say release everything, how do you define that? Now, what bothers me is if we're not responding completely or in a timely manner. And if we aren't, you should hold us to task for that. So I'm concerned about a 16-day turnaround if in fact that happened. And I'd appreciate a call in this case from Ralph if that ever happens again, or you, whatever. But we need to respond completely and in a timely manner. So I'm frustrated as you are because I had hoped, and I still hope, that if nothing more in terms of this administration, we would be known as a group of people who want to build a dialogue, who I truly appreciate. I get the oversight piece, the audit side of what you have to do, and have no interest in trying to stymie that. When we get so many requests on top of each other, it is hard for us just physically to respond. And maybe it's an anomaly. Maybe this too will pass. But and I'd like to suggest that I'd like to get to the point where you don't have to do a court request.
I would like that very much.
Well, but
too.
what subject is it you want information on?
Well, I would like to know what your goals are, your direction, what you are doing in our government. For instance, when you were hearing from the city attorney that perhaps you did not need to enforce the council actions on the budget. That would have been something that we would have liked to have known about. And maybe not through some email leak, maybe from you. And additionally, when I'm writing a story and I want to talk to you for 5 minutes, I know you're a very busy man, but I don't think 5 minutes is a lot to ask. And, from our paper's standpoint, we want to be fair to you. We want to give you a chance to speak, but I can't come up with your opinion on something. You have to give it to me. If I don't have it, then all I can say is the mayor wouldn't comment. And that, we get a little sick of printing that over and over again.
Well, Adrian, first of all, this may be part, Ralph, maybe a little larger discussion we should have, which is what's work product and what's public domain. Now, that email thread between Chris Melzer and myself that was leaked, it was leaked because it was not a response to an email. It was a separate email that was forwarded. It could not have been inadvertent in my personal opinion, but whatever. That was a attorney-client privileged thread. Okay. Now, you might say, well, why am I not telling you about my questions of the city attorney? I'm new here still. I'm still trying to learn roles and responsibilities. And for example, at council yesterday, there was a brief discussion of the swimming pools, where we're going with that. And the fact is, from the city attorney's office, is that is a executive branch decision, not a city council decision on whether we put it on an RFP or whether we go with a sole source vendor. As long as we're delivering the service on swimming pools, for example, within the budget, that's a management discretion. Now, I just found that out yesterday. With respect to the email thread you're referring to, after council overrode my vetoes, okay, and wanted to spend more money on maintaining tennis courts and on a second code enforcement officer that I thought was premature, given we were going to add a first new code enforcement officer. I did ask the city attorney to tell me whether or not statutorily I was required to comply with that. I ask those kind of questions all the time, including there's a situation going on in council this afternoon concerning the outside audit. And some confusion between Denny Nestor, the city auditor, and myself, I suppose, in terms of my meeting with the outside auditors recently. And Denny had the impression that I'm attempting to change the authority for hiring the outside auditor from city council to myself. That is not at all the case. I am concerned on that matter that we have had the same outside auditor now for 6 years. And I've talked with a number of other jurisdictions, including Jerry Forte of Colorado Springs Utilities, who change their outside auditor every 5 years. So it's really more of a question from me to Chris Melcher, which is, please confirm to me whether city council or the mayor has the authority to do this or do that. Doesn't mean I'm going to take action. The city attorney's office has told me that I am not necessarily obligated to spend the money on the tennis courts. For example, council wants to do it. I respect their position. We're going to spend the money. So I think it's prudent for me to find out, as we head into this new form of government, what are the parameters? Where are the limits on my authority? Where does council's authority begin? The charter is not crystal clear. So there's no intent to hide anything from either. That was a work product, a work in process discussion.
But the council wasn't.
One more, and I need to go.
Well, sticking to the issue of transparency, and what we're all talking about here. I've requested your calendar. I know Pam has requested your calendar or appointment book, and what we've gotten back is a very watered down version of who you're meeting with or what you're doing on a daily basis. We're not asking for your, for your haircut appointments or your doctor's appointments or anything like that, but we're getting a very watered down version of what you're doing on a daily basis.
That's your opinion, Daniel, that it's watered down.
Okay.
If the Gazette feels that I am not properly complying with the CORE request, engage legal counsel and come after us. We're providing you with what we think is appropriate in the way of my public meetings. Now, that's just the way it is, and I'm sorry that doesn't satisfy you. I have all kinds of discussions all the time with citizens who don't want their name out there, with companies, CEOs that don't want their name out there, and yes, we don't put their name specifically on that event. So again, we're doing the best we can to comply with the law. And honestly, if you don't think we are, have somebody show us specifically where we are not. I'm sorry if it doesn't satisfy you, but that's just the way it is. One more? I can take one more. I'm sure there are more, but Adrian, did you have another one?
I would just say that at times it feels like your government wants to release the bare minimum of what it feels like it is legally required to. And I had certainly hoped that when you came to office you talked a lot about transparency, and that you might be the type of mayor that would take the office, take being a public servant very seriously, and essentially want the public to know what's going on in your administration. People like to demonize the media, but we are the people who let the public know what's going on in their government. So I would ask that you, in the future, don't give us the bare minimum of what you think you're legally required to give. Be open. There's nothing like somebody who's honest and open to stay out of the bad headlines.
Well, again, we think that disseminating information to all the media at the same time achieves the most transparency. Not everybody reads the daily or the weekly newspaper. There are folks who get their news on the broadcast media or other print media. So that's my perspective. I know you don't agree with it. I'll say it again. If we are not complying properly, and I didn't say the bare minimum. I think we want to comply properly. We're just going to have this running. Good people can agree to disagree. You'd like to have everything that I'm going to do today on my calendar. I'm not going to put it there. Where I think, for example, I'm going to make probably 6 or 8 phone calls this afternoon. I guess we could have that debate too. Should those be on my calendar? I'm going to call the governor this afternoon and ask for a meeting. Now, I guess, should that be on my calendar? What if I don't reach him, but I had on my calendar call the governor? Then what do? Do I go back and say, call him, he didn't answer? I don't know. I just get the sense that we need to continue a dialogue if you're willing. And despite appearances with some of you I wouldn't be here today if I did not want to have a transparent government and want to build a dialogue with you. So that's all I can say.
Mr. Mayor, if releasing the CORAs is not meant to penalize the media that is requesting it, why not simply wait a week and release it to everyone? That would give the person requesting it time to print the story that they had obviously put a lot of work into, and it would achieve your goal of being transparent and making sure everyone has the information.
Adrian, does releasing CORA request information to all media violate the law? Does the CORA law prevent that? Or?
I'm not an attorney, Mr. Mayor, so I
well, I'm
would
just
not
asking
be able
if you know.
to offer an opinion on
I've
that.
said this several times this morning. I'm just being candid with you. I think that's the right thing to do. Now, Ralph has asked for an opportunity to have a dialogue about it. And Ralph, if you could invite some other people, please. Let's sit down. Let's visit about it. I don't want a range war with you. That doesn't serve any purpose. You printing continually bad things about me doesn't serve any purpose. I don't want to feed that fire. I do think that not everybody reads the daily or weekly newspaper, and so in my mind, and I'm not a media person, so I'm not. I'm just, from a common sense point of view, thinking that by allowing all the media outlets to have the same information, that makes sure we have the broadest distribution of that to the citizens. So anyway, I'm happy to visit more, Ralph, if that's something you all want to do. Thank you all for being here, and see you next month. Let Cindy know if this format works, or if you want to prepare some questions ahead of time that I could even research. For example, in the 16 days, I'd love to be able to stand here and say, here's what I found out, because that's not acceptable to me. We need to make sure, to the extent we're able, that we're always timely with you. Thank you all.
I appreciate that. Thank you.